Hey guys, welcome back to Pennies TV with Kia. And if you are new here, this is a channel where we aim to dispel your myths, simplify difficult financial jargon, rectify your own personal problems while trying to entertain you as well. I just want to say I have a really big announcement. Pennies to Pounds has finally got merch. I'm so excited. You know I had to put it on. Come on. You know I had to wear the merch. I absolutely love it. Like I'm the biggest fan of graphic tees as it is. And this is insane. So if you want to get your own, link is in the description. I'm telling you, it is the littest financial literacy merch you will ever find. Promise you, hands down, littest. So if you want to get it, link will be in the description. So I'm back with another video. And this one's going to be slightly different. So I've said to myself that I wasn't going to do any story times on this channel unless, so big disclaimer, unless it is absolutely relevant and I believe that people can take some stuff from it. So today I have a story that I thought I was going to take to the grave with me. Honestly, I was so ready to just bury this one. Only like my dad and a few close friends know about this one. I think like 2 people know it besides from my dad. I was going to take this one to the grave, but I thought, you know what? There's a lesson to be learned here. So let me share that lesson. So today I'm going to be telling you about the time where I owed the tax man, I owed HMRC thousands of pounds. Okay? So disclaimer, you'll find out how it ended right at the end. And yeah, you'll find out what happened. But to kind of put it in context, so imagine me, 17-year-old Kia. So I have always been like an entrepreneur from young. I've always had different business ideas. All my friends who have known me from primary, secondary, and sixth form have always known that I've been someone who's had different ideas, selling things, doing different things. That's always been me. So I was selling from as young as like 9 years old. That's a whole nother story. But when I got to sixth form, I went on to my newest venture. So I was really into my natural hair. I was heavily into my natural hair care and looking after it. I had a blog which was doing really well. And obviously being in the UK, that we're quite limited with the products that we get, and America tends to get the products first and we have to wait a couple of months before it comes over to the UK. So there was this brand new product that had launched in America and it was going crazy. Okay, when I say crazy. So I was like, you know what? Do you know what would be good? Do you know what would be good? If I can get that product from the US and sell it in the UK. So that's what I did. I told my dad, he agreed, it was a good idea. So we got in contact with the company, kind of floated the idea about me being in the UK and being a distributor of the product in the UK for them. They agreed. And at the time I was the sole distributor for UK and Europe, okay? I was the only person selling that product in UK and Europe because I reached out to the company and they were like, yep, there's no one else doing it. We can kind of sign an agreement. It would just be you. Incredible, right? But then they asked me for something called a UTR. So imagine me 17, I didn't really know what that meant. So I was trying to research it. Anyway, long story short, I realized you had to be a sole trader to get a UTR. UTR stands for unique tax reference number. So that's what I needed. They were like, okay, to get the kind of contract in place and everything in place, we need your UTR. Figured out what it was, registered as self-employed, sole trader, and got my UTR. As soon as I got my UTR, sent it over to them, everything was sorted out. I got over the product. So my dad actually helped me financially because I needed quite a big sum to be able to buy it. And I paid it back bit by bit as I was making sales. So that's how we agreed it. So that was amazing. So I got over my product. I started off small because I knew it was going to be quite hard to kind of get the word out there in the UK. So I think I ordered something like 250 or 300 of the products. And then as and when they sold, and kind of it would help me gauge how quickly they were going to sell and how much I need to buy. It took about 4 weeks to come from the US over to the UK. So I had to factor that in mind. So yeah, started off with 300 products and that's what I did. So amazing. I was selling these after word of mouth started getting out there. Obviously I put a blog post on my blog and they kind of started getting out there. They were selling like hotcakes. So that was me. I was like, whoop, that's it. I had my friends who were buying it from me. I had people in Germany, France, all over Europe buying it from me. And that was absolutely incredible. Then I went to uni. So when I went to uni, I kind of put a stop to that. The company, I was kind of semi-selling it, but not really. There were a few more people at that time who were selling it as well. So I kind of just said, okay, you know what? I'll pass on the baton to someone else who's selling it. And that was that. But I had a good run for about a year. I was the only person for about a year selling this product. So I go to uni, had a great time, by the way, 10 out of 10 would recommend. I moved out for uni. If you don't know, I was living in Coventry for 3 years. The first year was crazy, but absolutely loved it. Wouldn't change it for the world. Definitely loved it. And whilst I was away in first year, I don't know if anyone else can relate, but whilst I was away, I very rarely came home. My dad had to literally beg me to come home. I came home for special occasions, family birthdays, and Christmas. That was it, okay? I didn't come home. So, like I said, I come home for those occasions, maybe come home for the day or come home for 2 days and then go back straight to Coventry because I didn't want to miss out on all the fun. You know, first year, I'm 18, I'm trying to have my fun, live my life, and that's what I was doing. So when I came home, I would get my post, didn't really get much, just kind of fruit my room and go back to Coventry. By the end of the first year, I'd now fully come home for the summer holidays, obviously had the 6 weeks or however long we have, 8 weeks at home before I had to go back for second year. So I saw all these brown envelopes. I didn't quite understand what they were. I didn't really open them too tough. I wasn't expecting anything, whatever. Then one day I opened one of them. So one of the recent ones, I opened it and it was from HMRC. So they told me that I hadn't submitted my self-assessment form. So if you've seen my limited company versus sole trader video, if you haven't, I'll put it up here. If you haven't seen that, then that is what you have to basically submit as a sole trader to declare your taxes to the government, declare your income, and then they can work out how much tax you owe them. So if you're under the personal allowance amount, which is 12,500 at the moment, then you don't have to pay any taxes. But if you are over the personal allowance amount, then you have to pay taxes and the government will tell you how much you owe, you pay it to them, all done. So they told me that I hadn't submitted it. And they were right, because I didn't know how to do this. At 17, had no idea. That wasn't really something that was on my radar. Didn't have anyone really helping me in that sense who had the business acumen, so I had no idea. So let me tell you how the penalties work. I might get it a bit confused. If I can find it, I'll put it here while I'm talking. But so you have to submit your self-assessment form by the 30th of January, I believe it was for me. So I had to submit it by 30th of January, 2017. Didn't do it. If you were a week late, it was a £100 fine. So again, hadn't submitted it, £100 fine. Then after that, I think they put on another £100 for me because I still hadn't submitted it after like a month or 2 months. Did it like that. And then they start to add on daily interest for as long as it takes for you to submit. So by this time now, we're probably in like October 2017, right? So I've kind of seen, I was like, oh my gosh, what's this? So I just thought, you know, if I just submit it, they'll stop it. That's it. They'll just kind of like get rid of it all and that's fine. So I submitted it, didn't quite know what I was meant to write down, wasn't too sure, had no idea, just submitted it, put it in. And then someone else who I probably shouldn't listen to their advice, but obviously at 17, I didn't know what to do. 17, 18, I had no idea. They said to me, you know what, if you just kind of like just close down and say you're not self-employed anymore, you're not sole trader anymore, then they'll just cancel it. So that's why I was like, oh my gosh, brainwave, that's what I'm going to do. So I went online, cancelled it, or wrote into them. I can't remember exactly the process, but I basically told them I'm no longer a sole trader. I'm a student. I'm working. That was it. Got rid of that. So I thought, phew, that's done, right? So I went back to second year. Second year, again, I'm back in Coventry. I'm living my life. Had a great time in second year as well. 10 out of 10, would recommend. Love moving out. Had a great time with my friends. Again, I came home more frequently, but I came home because I was working in London. So even then, it would just be a pit stop. Sleep, like work Saturday, for example, sleep on Sunday, work Sunday, and then go back on Sunday. So I wasn't really home. So I was still getting letters. Didn't really see them because my family would put it in my room. Like I said, I would just literally come in just to sleep and then leave again. That was it. So it wasn't until I say about probably mid-2018, I checked again with letters and they said that I hadn't submitted the tax return for 2018. So I was like, wait, I'm so confused because I'm pretty sure I did it. And I'm pretty sure I told you guys I'm not sole trader anymore. So I'm so confused. So I just assumed it was a mistake. That was my big error, okay? If I haven't made any mistakes so far, you don't think I have? This was the first one, okay? Ignoring it and thinking that it was their mistake. So now I've carried on thinking, okay, whatever, they'll rectify it on their system. I don't know, that's nothing to do with me because I submitted it. Again, carry on. And it isn't until like late 2018, I kind of get another letter, open it up finally. And I see that, remember my £200 fine that I owed them, which I thought would be written off when I told them I'm no longer a sole trader, had now accumulated to £1,500, the fine. So I'm like, what on earth is this? What do you mean? So I go online and I download so I submitted 16-17 tax return. So I downloaded the 17-18 one, filled it out, sent it over to them and let them do what they need to do. So they came back with it corrected because what HMRC can do is they'll compare it based on your kind of your earnings and they'll amend it that way. So they amended it because I was working as well in university. So they just amended it with my income in that sense. So I was like, phew, finally I'm done and they'll cancel my penalties. Again, thought I was done. Second mistake, if I haven't made one so far. Second mistake. Move on now. And I'm now in 3rd year. Yes, I can hear you saying it had lasted that long. It did last that long. I got to 3rd year now. Again, thought it was all done. But by this time, I'm really getting anxiety. Every time I get a brown letter through the door, just the Kia, I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what it is. So 3rd year now, again, I'm still living away in Coventry. One time I came back, not too late, I think probably just in 2019, I think I'd come home and I'd open up one of the letters. Again, they still had an issue or something. I wasn't too sure what was going on, but they still had this issue and they were still adamant that I was self-employed. And they said, right, you know what? We've been adding on interest for all this time, okay? And we've added on so many different penalties and fees and late fees and all this and all that, that now the fee that I had to pay had gotten to £3,000, okay? Just over £3,000. And I was like, what is this? What is this? I remember I got into my room, I started crying. What else am I meant to do? Where am I going to find £3,000 from? And I thought, because it'd been this long, they started threatening to send like bailiffs to my door and repossess stuff to get the money. And I was like, that is crazy. I can't let them come and take my family stuff. I don't know what to do. So whenever I'm in trouble, I lean on my father. So I told him, I confided in him and I said, look, Daddy, this is what's going on. This is how I got to this point. I didn't know. I thought if I just left it, they would leave me alone. And my dad's biggest thing, and you will have, if you listened to the podcast before or you listen to me speak at different talks, I will always say, obviously this was a good learning curve for me, but I will always say, regardless of any debt, anything that you've got going on with any companies, the worst thing you can do is ignore it. The best thing you need to do is to start some sort of dialogue. Let them know what's going on. If you have fines to pay or debts to pay, you're struggling, let them know you're struggling. Because when you ignore them, they have no idea and they're going to start to pursue and push and try and take legal action to repossess the money. Whereas if you let them know, you know what, I've got this debt to pay. I know I'm meant to pay you X amount every month, but right now I'm struggling financially. Can we put together a payment plan? They're more likely to want to help you in that sense because you've started dialogue with them. So that was my dad's advice to me. Write to them and let them know what's going on. So I gave them, when I tell you, I wrote a 4-page letter to HMRC and I explained why I started it up, the age I was, kind of how I didn't quite understand. Not that it's justification, but just trying to explain where I was, okay? So I explained to them kind of how I set it up. I didn't quite know that I had to submit this. I was away for uni. I kind of provided all that evidence that I was away for uni, all these kind of things, just saying I didn't quite understand. So I didn't really see the letters on time. So where they were trying to contact me, that wasn't where I was. Even though it's my primary address, I had my term time address. So I kind of wrote them a letter and I was so scared. But my dad was so calm. And sometimes when I'm panicky, you need someone to level you out, and that's my dad. So he was like, you know what, it's fine. It's fine, because once you start a dialogue with them, then we can put together maybe like a payment plan, or we can figure out maybe they'll try and reduce some of your penalty fees because they'll understand, whatever it looks like, okay? So I sent a letter, sent it first class recorded. I wanted to make sure it reached HMRC's headquarters and they got it. And then within about 2 weeks, one of the head of accounts or something from HMRC wrote back to me and basically said that they understood my story and they had written off all the penalties, which was, I think I started crying again. Honestly, I think I started crying again because I was so happy. But I wanted to tell you guys a story because I wanted you all to know how serious it is to submit these files. Hopefully, everyone watching this is like, well, yeah, duh, I know this. But I'm telling you, me as 17 years old, I knew that you could start up a business. I know all these things. And before you know, you kind of sell into your friends. It's not really that big. So you're not really going to register yourself as self-employed when you're in school and you're selling stuff to people in school, right? So this was my first time taking that leap, but not fully understanding the leap that I was taking. So I got myself into that mess, came out of it last year, 2019, which I'm very, very happy for. Very, very happy for. But it was definitely a learning curve. And I wanted to share this story with you guys because I want you guys to all learn and understand and see how I got here, because it's not that crazy of a story per se. It's something that could happen to everyone, something that could happen to anyone. You kind of miss letters or you don't see letters, you may not be home, especially now during the COVID period. Some people, the place where you're quarantining may have been different to your home residence, all these kinds of things. So many things can happen that can get you into this point. And obviously that was not my intention to do that. So the key takeaways are from this video, I hope, is If you are self-employed or a limited company or whatever you've registered as, make sure you submit your documents on time. So if there's a deadline, there isn't like a flexibility to the deadline. The deadline is the deadline. 1 day over, 1 minute over into the next day, and you are classed as late. So make sure you submit on time. If you have any filings or anything that you need to submit and you don't fully understand it, seek help. Ask a family friend if they know. Look online, have a Google. Social media is so helpful to find so many people. I have found loads of freelancers and loads of people who can help me in different areas of what I'm doing solely from social media. Use LinkedIn, put out a call out on Twitter, put it on your Instagram story, whatever it looks like. If you need help, then please do ask for it, because I'm telling you, paying someone £100 to make sure you submit something right is a lot cheaper than the £3,000+ penalties that I almost had to incur for not understanding and not filing it the way I should have. Okay, so that, to me, that's a very small price to pay for avoiding those fees and those penalties that I could have had to pay if HMRC weren't as nice as they were to kind of write it off for me. And I think the final takeaway that I'd say is, you might have heard it from your parents, I know I definitely did, is to do what I say, not what I do. So hopefully you've seen not to embody this and not to copy this, but please, please, please just do make sure being self-employed, being a limited company, whatever it looks like, is amazing, okay? I remember the joy I felt in my heart. I got my own business, proper business, but just make sure that you're doing everything correctly. Do all the research that you can beforehand to understand the process and what you should be doing and what you should be staying up to date with when you're actually running your business, whatever that looks like. But yes, thank you guys so much. There'll be another video next week. I'm consistent. I mean, I'm consistent-ish. I'm just over a week with the last video, but there'll be a video next week. I'm trying to do twice a week, but I've got a lot of recording and stuff coming up. So maybe once a week, and I'm planning some stuff for the new year as well. So please do tune in and stay with us for that. Subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. Follow Pennies, Pounds and everything. Hope you like the t-shirts. The t-shirts, I'm so excited. I love them so much. So if you do actually want to get your own t-shirt, link will be in the description. And yes, guys, have an amazing week, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.